So I don't know if y'all saw the recent Supreme Court ruling. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to cry. But they sided with the Trump administration on nationwide injunctions, which was preventing birthright citizenship, which was preventing Trump's birthright citizenship executive order from going in effect. And so essentially it's a 30-day pause before whatever guidance they put out will go in effect, which essentially means that you can't do a nationwide injunction to curtail some of his executive orders, which essentially means that it puts 250,000 children. It puts 250,000 children in limbo. And we know that they don't want to stop there. They've already been trying to position to put U.S. citizens in foreign jails, which we know a lot of that will be Black and brown people. And the Supreme Court basically said that they can rewrite the Constitution unilaterally. So it seems the only way to protect yourself or your child, and like, I'm trying not to cry, but as a mom, it's hard to imagine you not knowing if your child is safe. Citizenship is like the bedrock of the Constitution. If you're born on the land of the United States of America, you're a citizen. So for the court to put out this order and then not even comment on the merits, which essentially puts all us in limbo, it takes years to get to the Supreme Court. That means you can be a citizen in California, but you might not be a citizen in Texas. And we've already seen them use the National Guard to go and usurp the governor of California. And the courts have already ruled in that situation that they have the ability to usurp the governor and use the National Guard if they feel like it. And we all read that executive order where he wants to do that. So you could essentially have ICE agents going into hospitals and ripping children from their mom. Where does that stop? He's starting with immigrants, but we know that's not their goal. The architect of all this was the Heritage Foundation, with the use of Stephen Miller, with the idea that immigrants were making the country more diverse. In order to fill that diversity, you have to essentially remove that population from the country. So now it's immigrants. Next, it might be nationalized citizens. Next, it might be Black Americans. And like, the 14th Amendment was made specifically because there were a bunch of slaves that did not have a place, that weren't U.S. citizens. So they had the 14th Amendment so that all people would be citizens. And essentially, all that's in limbo, as well as all of the other nationwide injunctions that were put against the Trump administration are now in limbo. The only option, it seems now, is to have a class action lawsuit, which takes a long time to farm, and you literally would have to have your name on that lawsuit to have any kind of form of protection. And there's no telling that the Trump administration won't argue that that class action lawsuit, that class, isn't illegal. Because let's say if you're not a legal citizen here, then what's preventing them from saying that you don't also benefit from our laws and the ability to have class action lawsuits? I'm so sorry I did this crying. Like, I just can't imagine. This is the reason why it goes back to, like, I don't understand why we can't have bold leadership in the Democratic Party. Do you see how far Republicans are willing to go? We don't have anybody on our side that is willing to go this far to protect rights. To protect rights. These people are going so far to rip away rights. Why don't we have any kind of leadership that is coming out to protect rights? Why not? Y'all tell me what y'all think about all this in the comments. Again, I apologize for all the crying. I did not mean to do that. It's just that I wanted to make this video to make sure other people are aware that essentially the Supreme Court has sided with Donald Trump, and in 30 days, everything just falls in limbo when it comes to birthright citizenship. Citizens, United States citizens, Black people, white people, we're not safe in this country. Because it starts with the immigrant. Then where does it go? We all know this story. It starts with one group to see how you will accept it. then they next target the next group. Then they target the next group. Then they target the next group. But like I said, y'all tell me what y'all think about all this in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one.
Don't mind the red eyebrows. I just came out of my haircut appointment. But I just wanted to talk about the birthright citizenship thing. I know Trump is trying to end it. I still don't think it's going to go through. But if it does, I can understand why. Because other countries, if you are born in their country, technically you're not a citizen from that country. Unless both your parents are citizens of that country. So let's say I was born in Japan to American citizens. Just because I'm born in Japan doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a Japanese citizen. Unless the law says I am able to get citizenship for being born on their land. But if it's not like that, I'm a citizen of America because both of my parents are American citizens. So I'd be an American citizen. That's the same thing that's happening in the U.S. Trump wants U.S. citizens to have babies, and that baby is going to become a U.S. citizen. He doesn't want illegal immigrants to come in here, have a baby, and have their baby be American citizens. And then there's that problem. The parents are illegal, but the kid is a citizen. How do you work that out? And someone did bring up a question during this speech that he was having earlier today. And they asked him, what about the baby? Like, you can't necessarily deport a baby. And I agree if you think about it. But the thing is, regardless of how it may sound like, the law is the law. And I'm not saying deport the baby, obviously. I say maybe let the baby stay here for a couple months until he's able to go back with his family. But yeah, it's messed up. I know it's messed up. But like I said, why is it racist when America tries to do something like this, but when other countries do it, it's not racism? Like, make it make sense. I don't hear people crying about this happening in Japan and Korea and Russia, wherever it happens. Mexico even, I don't know. Like, I'm pretty sure if I'm born in Mexico, I can't be a Mexican citizen unless both my parents are Mexican, right? I could probably go for dual citizenship if I wanted to. But, like, honestly, I just don't understand why people are getting upset over this. Maybe this wouldn't be an issue if people would come here legally. That's all I have for today.
This decision, and thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with numerous policies that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis. And some of the cases we're talking about would be ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore. That was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for people trying to scam the system and come into the country on a vacation. This was, in fact, it was the same date, the exact same date, the end of the Civil War. It was meant for the babies of slaves, and it's so clean and so obvious. But this lets us go there and finally win that case, because hundreds of thousands of people are pouring into our country under birthright citizenship, and it wasn't meant for that reason. It was meant for the babies of slaves. So thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with these numerous policies and those that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis, including birthright citizenship, ending sanctuary city funding, suspending refugee resettlement, freezing unnecessary funding, stopping federal taxpayers from paying for transgender surgeries, and numerous other priorities of the American people. We have so many of them. I have a whole list. I'm not going to bore you, and I'm going to have Pam get up and say a few words, but there's really, she can talk as long as she wants, because this is a very important decision. This is a decision that covers a tremendous amount of territory. But I want to just thank, again, the Supreme Court for this ruling. It's a giant. It's a giant. And they should be very proud, and our country should be very proud of the Supreme Court today. African Americans built this nation. You built this nation. You know, you're just starting to get real credit for that, okay? I don't know if you know that. You're just starting to get, you built the nation. We all built it, but you were such a massive part of it. Bigger than you were given credit for. Does that make sense?
So Mexicans are telling black people they're not welcome at their parks. Check this out.
So me and my videographer today, we went and got a few shots at Chicano Park. We weren't there more than 30, 45 minutes. But as we were leaving, a Hispanic lady walked up to us and basically told us that we couldn't be there doing what we were doing. We were told that if we post the footage that we did today, that someone would come looking for us and there's going to be big trouble.
Now, I know it been that way from LA to the Inland Empire, that certain parks black people aren't allowed at because of Mexicans. A lot of stuff is racially motivated with them. If you're living in Southern California from LA to the Inland Empire, I'm pretty sure you could relate to what I'm saying. Yeah, they'll just have issues with you basically just based off your race. Nothing else. And it's just horrible that this type of mentality is spreading to San Diego. I don't know too much about San Diego because it's so far away from the rest of Southern California. But if anybody else, could shine in on how things or how the relations are between black people and Mexicans in San Diego, please feel free to drop a comment. But I know, like I said, from LA to Inland Empire, yeah, this is nothing new. This is nothing new. These are public parks, but it's just like that in Southern California, unfortunately.
With all of the videos that are directly up there, this is the one thing that I want to state. For the longest time possible, we've had a lot of people try to differentiate themselves from black Americans. We've had a lot of disrespect when it's dealt with the United States and how it is that people wanted to come directly at us, meaning immigrants, migrants, whatever you want to sit up there and call it. Oh, where are you guys from? No, where are you really from? Where are your grandparents from? Where are your great-great-grandparents? And every single time we would tell people that we are American, we are black American, we were born here. This is how that works. And people want to try to tell us, oh no, you're not, you're just you're African, you don't know your roots, you don't know your history, this, that, and the third, and all this other type of stuff. And then when we do this back and forth of, okay, so I have African ancestry, this, that, and the third, and all these other types of good things, then you'll have Africans sitting up there telling black Americans, no, you're not African. We're not going to consider you African. You've been 400 years removed directly away from us, so it's impossible for you to actually be us. We don't need you. We don't want you. And again, I placed that directly in another video that's somewhere up on this channel, and that was coming directly from an African man, and that was coming from an African woman on the continent who were both agreeing in unison. So this is not something that black Americans are making up because they're xenophobic, and no. It's everybody else that has a problem with black Americans. And it's everybody else that voted for Trump to be directly in office. And now people have to reap what they sow. Because again, if you guys probably would have voted another way, guess what? None of this would have been an argument. People would have been able to have the same conversations, move the way that they wanted to move. They wouldn't be in fear of ICE or deportation or all of this other type of talk, right? But people wanted to vote for Trump because they thought that it was going to inevitably only and solely affect black Americans. Because in unison, a lot of individuals out here, a lot of groupings, do not like black Americans. They want black Americans to be directly out of here. They want black Americans to suffer whatever negative consequences that they want them to suffer, go through, and all this other type of stuff, all to end up having everything flipped directly on them all at once. So everybody talked about for the longest time possible, oh, if when Trump gets in office, he's going to automatically get rid of you black Americans. You guys are out of here. Yeah, People were real just speaking it with their chest. They were so high and mighty and proud, and they were saying it with a smile and yada, 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 and saying that, oh, there's specifically this, that, and the third. It's not for you and all this. And then to come to find out, the man that y'all voted for, who also said that black Americans built this country and we're just now getting credit for this, is the exact same man who came out and said that birthright citizenship is meant for the children of slaves, meaning black Americans. They're not talking about Caribbeans. They're not talking about Africans. They're not talking about people from South America or where not or wherever. Specifically, black Americans who went through chattel slavery. in the United States. And again, there's a lot of people out here who want to posture themselves and say that they are not Black American. They get here to this country, it's like, oh, me no black, me no black. You got other instances of Africans teaching their kids, oh, don't associate yourself with those Black Americans. They're not intelligent. They're this, they're that, everything negative. Don't come here bringing all that, Black American, talk and whatnot or whatever here because we're African, this, that, right? They have all of that pride in their culture, right? And like I said, there's no problem there, right? But the craziest part is that they do all of this work to try to make sure that when they raise their kids, when they're in their home, they're 1000% separated from anything dealing with Black Americans, even though the only reason that they're able to stand, get the education, get the house and everything else is because of Black Americans. A lot of the music that you listen directly to, Black American, or based directly on, or created by, and we never got the credit for because it was stolen and taken. A lot of the inventions that are directly here in America and around the world, the exact same thing. But like I said, these are a lot of the same groups of people that say that Black Americans never contributed to anything. We didn't build anything. We didn't assist in anything. We didn't raise anything up. It's crazy work how everybody else can just come here and just say that, oh, we're the ones that did everything and you guys were just doing whatever, twiddling your thumbs. That's the way that a lot of these immigrants, migrants, whatnot, or whatever, always speak directly on Black Americans. And now people have to sit down and eat what it is that was prepared for them by themselves. Like I said, it's crazy work. That is crazy to literally, at this point in time in 4K, watch all of the people that have sat idly by, no matter what is taking place with Black Americans, always try to sit back and side with white folks, try to side directly with the system, of which we told them that, hey, the system is against you, the system's going to do this, that, and the third, and all these other type of things. The moment in time that the system does not need you, they will get rid of you. We told people this so many times over many, many decades, and nobody wanted to listen to the lonely old Black Americans here, because everybody who came over thought and had this whole idea that they were automatically better, that they were more educated, that they were doing more, contributing more, and that Black Americans were just a lazy bunch, just got here somehow because we're immigrants. Just because you're an immigrant, just because you came directly fresh off a boat or a plane, and you willfully came here, does not mean that we are the same. And this clearly makes sure to anybody else who wants to question anything to know that, yeah, you're right, we are not the same. This has made it official that we are not the same. We are not immigrants. That's not how we got here. That's not how we've been here. So all of those times that people wanted to make sure that they differentiate themselves directly from Black Americans, now the United States government is going to do it. Now the Supreme Court has done it. Now the president, of which you have voted for yourself, voting against your own best interest, now all three of those things in place have now told you that, yes, Black Americans are different from you, and because of that, they have birthright citizenship, and you, my people, do not. Oops. I don't think people saw that coming, because again, a lot of people voted for Trump to horribly and negatively and to only and solely affect the Black Americans, because that's how a lot of people thought it was going to work. And obviously that's not what took place. Oops. Well, anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I listed in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.